Today, we have a very, very special guest with us. We have Zach Boyajian, who is a trader that comes to trading from a completely different area of life. We are recording this right after election time. Days like a high event risk day like today, is there anything different that you do on days like this?
Coming into this election week, we've got guys on social media saying, hey, you know what? If you're trading this week, you're gambling, go to a casino. And then we got guys that are get to the desk. This is the best trading week of the year. Basically, what we're looking at here, this is an order flow software. For me, coming in with just a newbie attitude, this made it very simple. Looks intimidating, but for what I'm using it for, the way that I'm able to read it, very, very simple stuff. You don't know for certain whether that next trade is going to be a win or a loss. Your job is really to
Hey everybody, this is Boris Schlossberg. Welcome to the Trading Battle. We'll talk to some of the best traders in the world, learn some of their techniques, their ways about the trading world, and hopefully give you some better ideas about how you can improve your own edge. Today, we have a very, very special guest with us. We have Zach Boyajian, who is a trader that comes to trading from a completely different area of life. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about his own background, but has really taken it like a fish to water and loves trading, I guess, the futures market, right?
Yep.
We all love trading the futures market. We'll talk a lot about what he trades, how he trades, what he does these days. And he's got a very interesting and fabulous story to tell. So welcome to the Trading Battle, Zach. How is your day going today? After we are recording this right after election time, the market is up literally 3%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up more than 1,000 points, biggest rise in 2 years. It's been straight up all day long. Basically, buying the dips has just been a great strategy today. But I wonder how you've been doing today. Did you get a chance to trade at all today?
Yeah, I did. First off, thanks for having me on, Boris. I appreciate it. Awesome platform. But yeah, we're recording this on a heck of a day. Absolute tear to the upside. I kept myself out of funded accounts or live accounts, kept it to just combines today. A lot of risk on in the market. So I figured, you know what? Let me just take it easy with this volatility. But did get some trading in, got to make some progress in one of the top step combines that I was trading for a nice max profit. Caught some of those longs to the upside, but yeah, wild day to be in the markets for sure.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Do you, I'm actually curious, days like a high event risk day like today, is there anything different that you do on days like this?
Yeah, so I know there's always two camps here. Like coming into this election week, we've got guys on, social media saying, hey, you know what? If you're trading this week, you're gambling, go to a casino. And then we got guys that are get to the desk. This is the best trading week of the year. I'm somewhere in the middle there. I do like to be involved. I like to be paying attention to what's going on, try to leverage some of that volatility. But the way I'm operating in prop firms, I will kind of spread my risk. So maybe I'll just trade combines where it's sim money. I'm looking to, stack another funded account. If I'm trading a funded account, I'm sizing down. I may be dropping to micros. I am, widening up stop loss, just, sizing down, kind of reducing risk. Again, trading similarly, but recognizing that these big swings, these big increases in volatility, I need to run a little bit wider of a stop loss, a little bit wider of a take profit, just try to survive some of these big movements back and forth. But yeah, somewhere in the middle of that, all gas, let's hit it hard. And I'm totally going to stay out because I want to gain the experience as well, right? This is something that happens in the market. We have a lot of these big events, these big catalysts, and I want to be able to be involved within reason.
Yeah, it's a correct answer. I think I have been doing nothing but trading micros and I'm loving it. I love event risk. I mean, the whole point of trading is movement. I mean, actually, let me ask you a different question. Do you prefer a 2% day with lots of volatility or a 25 basis point day with no volatility?
I don't mind a big movement. I don't mind the big day. I like the nice big trend day to jump in on that. I try to make it work across all different market conditions to the best of my abilities.
That's interesting. How do you try to work within the different market regimes? Because it's a completely different market regime if it's a trend high volatility day versus a range low volatility day in terms of price action and techniques. Like, how do you make it work in both of those regimes?
Yeah, for me, at first at the open, I'm really not trading pre-market, so I'm coming into NYSE open. I'm doing my best to read that volatility. So I'm not really going to use an ATR, but I'll use some measurement tools, just try to understand at the open, maybe the first few minutes, what are we looking like coming into it? or do we have big fundamentals that are potentially going to be a catalyst? FOMC coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if we are starting to, see a lot of volatility, we have movement potentially to break these ranges to the upside or downside, I'm going to look to jump in with that. Around the open, I've really kind of found a groove with YM, with the Dow Jones. So I've been trading more at NASDAQ now, just always coming back to that monster. But with Dow, I'll kind of wait a little bit and I'll go with this zone to zone approach. And if we break out and start to run, I'm typically wrong on that first trade. I'm almost anticipating a rangy day almost every day, unless we're absolutely on a tear to the upside or downside. So I'm almost either going to catch it or be wrong first and then come over to NASDAQ and try to kind of scout my way into that momentum a little bit more. But that's my approach there coming into NYSE to answer that question. But it's tough. It's not an easy thing to say, I'm going to kill it on a range day and kill it on a trend day. I'm not. That's the easy answer.
What's the risk reward in terms of points? And just, like sort of percentages that you like to trade on those trades?
Yeah, I'm discretionary with it, so it's not a fixed system, not really completely objective. But for the most part, I'm going to mark those out with either some objective level, prior day high or low, or overnight session high or low, or even just a discretionary zone like support or resistance, supply demand, whatever we want to call it. Okay. And I'm gonna watch price action off the open. Let's say maybe, for example, we are opening up a little bit above VWAP, kind of the middle ground for that overnight session, and we got a pretty clear zone. I'm going to look to short, fade that zone, just like we said. Right. If on Dow, I'm pretty aggressive. I don't wait for too much confirmation, and I like to get a really nice cheap entry and try it. I find if I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong anyway. It's going to go and run to the upside. That's it. But that gives me a pretty nice risk to reward back down to just VWAP or the middle of that area.
Right. Combined with some structure. So would you say, is it a 1 to 1.5?
Yeah. Oh, I try to get over a 1 to 1 at a bare minimum on a trade like that. Yeah. Maybe a 1.5 to 1. Typically not a huge risk to reward. No 3 or 4 to 1.
Generally on sort of traditional trade days, how many Dow points is that on risk to reward? Like what are you risking?
Yeah.
50 points?
Yep. Right around that 50, 60 point stop loss recently. Again, accounting for volatility, right? Because it's always going to be different. And again, so long as I can get a decent risk to reward, because there'll be setups, there'll be days where it just doesn't make sense. We're kind of trending up. We're almost already tapping against a zone. That VWAP is close and the setup is just not there. I'd have to take on this big amount of risk and there's not a really nice profit target to shoot for.
So but the discretion part, and this is a very interesting little nuance that you're talking about. If you are seeing the VWAP actually start to slope up towards the edge case, or slope down towards the edge case. In other words, it's not that it's extending really, the VWAP is here and this price is just spiking out and you're happy to fade the spike. It's actually the price is pulling the VWAP along with it in a slow but steady trending manner. That's a yellow light for you. That's a warning sign that, you don't want to fade that. That means that there is density in the market that wants to take it.
It is. And that's why I mentioned the discretionary piece, right? That's
a super, super interesting little nuance technique. I hope those of you guys who are watching this actually see that. Well, maybe you'll show it to us on the charts, because I've never heard anybody talk about that. That actually makes imminent amount of sense. Imminent amount of sense because the nature of the price movement can really tell you the potential of whether you're right or wrong just by its nature. So it's kind of fascinating. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Wow. It's filtering. We jumped right into it on this one, but it is filtering a little bit weird. It's good. Traders, right?
We're going to with the pleasantries. What do you actually do? Show me your tricks. I want to see your tricks.
Break down the trading. No, it's again, it's basic at its core for the most part. Even what I do with NASDAQ, where it's a little more trend following, but it's price action, market structure, objective and discretionary levels, and a little bit of volume. I'm going to use some basic volume tools, maybe visible range volume profile I'm experimenting with even more now, traditional volume, and then Bookmap and order flow on the side as far as trying to see some live liquidity in the market, maybe get a little bit of a feel for another level that I might not be aware of.
Well, let's talk and jump back a little bit because we dove right into trading, which is obviously the most important part. But tell me a little bit about how you got into it. What drove you to the markets? How long you've been doing it? And what's sort of your backstory to all of this?
Yeah. I'm about 5 or 6 years in, got out of college, was working sales jobs, management, outside sales. And it was about 2019, 2020, father-in-law said, hey, it's time to start looking at opening up an investment brokerage, start paying attention to some stock market stuff here. and jumped in there, saw money happen really quickly, caught the bug. Just basic, buying Apple, I think was the first, and started to see some movement there. So that was kind of the intro.
Did you buy Apple stock or did you buy Apple options?
I stocks. Yeah, never touched options. But I'd be lying to you if I told you exactly what happened to what stock. But I remember money going in, and I'm checking this account, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, we're green, a couple $100. What is this? So,
Right.
that was quickly transitioned into, let's pay attention to some technical analysis. Let's get on a chart. Played with crypto for a little bit. I had heard everybody, big volatility in crypto, Bitcoin, and maybe that was 1 to 2 years, maybe 2.5 years before I really got serious and said, you know what, let me really dive into technical analysis if I'm going to stop losing money, because it eventually transitioned to slowly bleeding money. I'm in and out of the crypto market. It wasn't the big account
How
blow
are
up.
you trading crypto, by the way? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so it was like long only with just basic U.S. regulated crypto brokers. So it was
Who was the broker?
uh,
Coinbase? Were you trading
Binance US when I eventually
Binance US?
Binance US.
Back when Binance used to have a US broker, right?
Yeah, right. So I mean, I started to transition to Forex. I think before all the craziness, when it was like get your money off exchange and that type of deal. But yeah, I made the swap over to Forex and got really, really serious. Again, still losing money, still bleeding from live accounts is what I jumped right into.
Were
And
you were you getting up at 4 in the morning like a true Forex trader?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So again, I got serious with it when I came to Forex, and again, I'm a high performing individual, fairly disciplined. I did not like just watching myself lose money and get very frustrated. So I'm searching for the holy grail. I'm still making all of these basic type of mistakes. This journey that a lot of us go down, but at that time, I said I'm going to start reading all the trading books that I can. I'm going to study every strategy that I possibly can, and I'm going to dedicate a lot of time. And to your point, I was working full time, right? My past career. I would wake up at 1, 2 in the morning, trade London session, maybe catch a nap, try to trade in the morning ahead of work a full day, 9, 10 hours, come back, study, back test, rinse and repeat. Again, not bragging, not sustainable. I talk about this a lot with my group and anybody that speaks to me. But I was trying my best to condense as much of this trial and error, failure, and figure this whole thing out. And
Sure.
it started to work to a degree. So that was really all the way through 2022, 2023, when I finally started to get some traction, started to break even, started to, get some understanding of what I was doing. And yeah, I was really heavy into it, fell in love with the market. I genuinely do enjoy the charts. I'm a nerd with that stuff. Although I keep things very simple. 2023, I made a plan with my wife, decided I was going to leave my career, give a full-time run at this thing. And yeah, it was going well. And not to take too much time, but it's going to transition right into where I'm at with futures. I had capital to trade with. I'm grateful to have done well in the past life, and I liked the idea of leveraging other people's money. I liked prop firms. I liked the idea of limiting downside risk, access to this
Right.
big capital, and got burned time and time again with Forex prop firms. I just, for whatever reason, was getting either the scam type of one. Forex funds, my Forex fund is shutting down.
Yeah, well, that was a tough. My Forex funds was actually a great prop firm.
Yeah.
Most of the time, execution was good. I mean, they did really slip you
So yeah,
on event time, but anytime outside of just pure news time, execution was fine. I was really happy with them for a long, long time.
So anyway, I put I'll make it short. I put my hand on that stove a couple more times, and into this year, it was really only January, February of this year where I said, you know what, I've got to get out of here. I've got to get over to futures. It seemed like a much more well-regulated market, at least for U.S. traders. I wanted to trade the U.S. indices. With Forex, I did find my groove on Forex pairs, kind of swing trading higher time frames, but I was always interested in the CFD side, and I was trading US 30 and NAS 100. So futures were an easy choice for that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was really January into February, kind of right as I was starting this whole content creation, sharing the trading thing, the coaching, the
Yeah.
mentorship. And yeah, stayed with the prop firms, came right over to Top Step, started with them. Again, I think probably maybe March. And that's where I've been so far. Futures has been awesome, been a nice transition.
What do you think? Why do you think futures just seems to attract people more? Like, why do you think it's easier to trade futures than it is to trade CFDs? Same product, same movement, but somehow everybody
Yeah.
likes the futures product better. What do you think about it attracts people?
I know for US based traders, it's an easier transition. I just think it's the US regulation saying we want guys off CFDs, we want them in the futures market. But
Yeah.
for me, what I did like was the volume, just regulated, real, reliable volume,
You like
and
using volume. Okay.
yeah, and level two data, the order flow. Again, it was
Yeah.
new to me, right? This is 5-6 years in now, probably around the 5-year mark. But this is new to me. You're really adding these volume tools and then
Mhm.
just starting to learn order flow. A little bit of using Bookmap, and I've enjoyed that. I think it's a little bit of an edge, a little additional piece there. Again, some of it is available, but when I was trading Forex in live accounts, I was with US regulated Forex brokers and there's no volume,
Yeah.
zero volume from forex.com.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe a small advantage there, but at least on the prop firm side, what I've seen, much more regulated. They're operating with brokers. Again, I know there's reliable stuff out there. I talk to guys that
Mm.
still trade with Forex prop firms. But
Yeah.
if you're going to trade US indices as a US based trader, you want to work with a reliable prop firm. I don't think
Mm.
futures is a bad space to do it. I think it's a pretty professional, well-regulated space.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, I think take regulation away, take execution away. I just think it's interesting because for me, the one attraction is that I can make bid ask. I love making bid ask
Yep.
because I'm scalping all day long,
Yep.
and that's an edge. It's an edge
I
if
like that.
if you can sell the offer by the bid. It's a difference between a 3-tick trade and a 4-tick trade. You do that 100 times a day, like sometimes I will do. That's a lot of ticks that could go your way versus against you. So
Yeah, slippage is tight. I mean, not a lot of slippage. You get great fills. Execution's really good. My experience in the futures market. So yeah, there's plenty of advantages that I see. But it's
right.
been an interesting transition. I've really had to get comfortable on low time frames on US indices. It's pretty much what I'm doing exclusively, and kind of learn these different platforms. But it's been fun. There's always going to be a different journey.
So when you were trading Forex, what were the timeframes you were trading?
I really took myself away from the low time frames after just getting so frustrated before I had any traction, and it was higher time frames, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, and it was more swing trading. I would
Mhm.
pay attention to a large watch list of pairs, maybe 12 to 18 pairs that I would kind of rotate through, and really basic support and resistance style approach. I carry a lot of that over, but it was higher time frame, quote unquote swing trading.
Right.
Maybe I'd hold stuff for a couple days.
Okay. And now on futures, what's the timeframes that you trade with?
Lower time frames, 5 minute, 1 minute, in between there. Play around with the 2 and 3 just recently, but
Yeah.
I'll still start higher time frame. I'll do some top down analysis, but intraday, on Dow and Nasdaq, the 30-minute 1 hour chart, I don't think is going to serve me too well.
No, not intraday, not on futures. Yeah. You said you read a lot of trading books when you first started out. Give me your top 3 trading books that had a good deep impact on you.
It's going to be all the common ones. Trading the Zone, Best Loser Wins, Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler. Really enjoyed all of those. I liked the psychology stuff. I really did. I read some of the more technical stuff. Naked Forex was pretty good for just kind of clearing my charts off, kind of getting off of indicators.
Right.
But also just the storytelling ones. Market Wizards, all of that series.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff was great. I was really what was going on. I was running a lot at the time. I'm into running ultra marathons now. I don't know why, but I was running quite a bit.
Ultra marathon?
Anything longer than a marathon. So starting at 50K, a marathon's 26.2 miles. 50K is like 30 something. I ran a 50 mile only a couple weeks ago. I find that endurance sports stuff, just kind of doing hard things outside of trading, really translates well.
Okay. So, you are now, I guess, relatively comfortable in the setups that you have, right? That those are
Yep.
pretty much your go-to setups at this point. You do them more like, you're not really changing you may be tweaking them, but you're not really changing them on a day-to-day basis. You found a relatively good, strong comfort zone with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. I will say I've continued to experiment. I'm on US indices only.
Mhm.
I've continued to experiment between ES and NASDAQ and Dow. And it's this I'll tell you, it's this constant challenge because I do a lot of live trading. I do a lot of coaching. And I think you're in a similar boat here where,
Yeah.
Dow provides some nice setups and it worked very well for me, but maybe it's infrequent. Maybe I get one or two setups in the morning and then I'm kind of sitting watching the charts. And it's this dangerous road you can go down if you're somebody that wants to start live streaming where the people want to see action, right? Nobody wants to hop on the YouTube and live stream for an hour and watch you not take a trade, which I've done a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a balance between finding something that genuinely works. It's going to present a positive P&L at the end of it, and maybe have a little bit higher frequency of trades. So I've kind of continually come back to NQ for that, and that's where I'm at over the last couple of weeks. I don't think quite scalping as aggressively as you do, but a little bit higher frequency than.
Let me. I don't have my. Oh yeah, yes I do. Let me just tell you what I did
Yeah, how many
today.
like how many trades are we taking a day, Boris? I'm curious on that.
I just looked at my trade of 95.
Yeah, I'm not near that, brother. No, nowhere near that. But it works for you, right? You found something that works, and you've got
for
a
me.
system.
Yeah, it works for me for a whole bunch of reasons. When you take 95 trades, no single trade is ever going to affect you. You kind of get inured to getting hit by a lot of bullets coming your way. I mean, for me, one of the things that nobody talks about when you're trading virtual funds versus, because of course I trade both, is when you're trading futures, you built up a huge amount of commission cost, right? So when I was trading real, it was completely within realm possibility where I could make $500 and pay $500 in comp. Like it'd be complete possibility where I'd make $200 and make $500 in comps. In other words, I'd pay my broker 3 times the amount of money that I would actually net out to myself. That's really annoying in real life. It's totally not a problem when you're trading virtual.
With props, right?
If I'm net 200 against 1,000 comms, I could care less. What does it matter? I'm net 200. I'm towards my target. I'm going to get paid out. That's really what it's about. It makes it very, very crystal clear what matters, which is not the friction costs, but the net P&L costs. It's one of the things that I sort of like about.
It's interesting. It's an advantage in a certain sense, but it's definitely an interesting dynamic. You don't have some of those same challenges, or you can leverage maybe something that wouldn't work in under these different conditions.
In real life, where it's an actual, where it's a tax. Nobody likes to pay taxes, and hopefully we won't have to much anymore, given that we have the Trump win today. But I mean, commissions are kind of like a real burden if you're trading real life. That's one of the negative aspects about futures, and one of the positive aspects of CFDs, which I like, which is net. But of course, the slippage there overtakes that. I want to talk a little bit. You talked about the tool sets that you use at your fingertips, and even though you say you keep it simple, you actually use some pretty sophisticated tools. Maybe you can walk us through your process a little bit. Share your screen.
Absolutely.
Start with the basics, and then just maybe walk me down to how you build up your whole analytical framework.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw up a NASDAQ chart.
Before I ask you, why the black? Is it just because you want just no focus, pure focus? Is that the story? So I just understand that's VWAP, right? That's the VWAP line.
It is. Hang on one second. I'm just gonna put this on this screen so I can look at the screen with you guys. Hang on one second.
Okay. I like the simplicity of your watch list. Talk about keeping it simple. The man has literally 3 symbols on his watch list: S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, and Dow futures. There is zero distraction on that watch list.
Okay, because I just want to be able to.
That's very funny. I literally have never seen such a minimalist watch list in my life. It's truly an ascetic monk-like watch list there over there.
No Mag 7, nothing crazy. I find
there's not even a bond on there. There's not even a dollar index. It's just like, I don't care. This is just what I trade. I actually love that. I think I'm gonna steal that look from you, because it is actually super, super clear. It's like non-distracting. I mean, because I have so many just nonsense. I have CFDs. I have futures. I have Forex. I have bonds. I have like 1,000 symbols. I have commodities. Yeah, I like this. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to steal it.
It's
Um,
it's a preference thing, man. You know, I think a
yeah,
lot of guys do well paying attention to correlated markets, a lot of this fundamental news.
mm,
Part of me starting to get some traction was really simplifying my approach.
yeah,
And for me personally, paying attention to so many different markets, watching so many different charts, I end up with these crazy biases. I'm trading another chart on the chart that I should be trading, and it just, it just confuses
yeah,
me, kind of starts to contradict things. So, yeah,
yeah.
part of it is simple. Like you said, I do have some tools that I use, but just to break this down, I won't always run a visible range volume profile. So just for now, I'll get rid of that one. Something I've been looking at a little bit more on Nasdaq, but we've
Okay.
got this is just a vertical line for 930 open. I have on a day like today where we rip the upside, we can't even see it on the 5-minute chart. Couple objective levels. If I'm going to mark them, sometimes I'll just throw a zone, maybe prior day high, prior day low, and initial balance high and low, opening 1 hour range. Outside of that, really the only indicator, quote unquote, you're going to see is a VWAP line, standard session VWAP, and some just traditional volume down on the bottom. Outside of that, if I zoom out a bit, these are just basic discretionary levels coming off of tops and bottoms, areas of interest on the chart. Um, what I will really look for on something like NQ, just the basics before I talk more about a specific setup or bookmap. After I get off of Dow, if I'm stuck on Dow in the morning, I want to start to see some kind of trend develop. Higher highs, higher lows getting put in. Maybe we're above VWAP like we are today. Maybe
Mm,
we're extremely bullish because the election is going on,
right.
and I'm going to try to find a way into this trend. Today on Nasdaq, I did okay with this visible range volume profile. I believe it was on the 2-minute or 3-minute chart. And here near the open, we didn't have a super strong trend. As we started to pull back down right around this area of
Yeah,
interest, again, if I was going to
right,
throw a zone off of that, I
right.
started looking long. And I'm combining just basic price action and market structure again
So,
on my nice white and gray chart.
yeah. So were you looking, okay, it's in that area of interest. It comes
Yep.
down,
Yep.
consolidates, and then starts to pop back up. Is when you start looking into it, it starts to break out back up?
Yep. I'm looking for something like this. I'm looking for something along these lines. And I'll tell you how I'm combining this with EdgeFuel. I'm partnered with EdgeFuel, really cool statistic platform provider. I don't know exactly what you would call these guys, but I'll pull up their platform quickly.
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah, we see it.
See, there we go. Hang on 1 second, guys. Just want to be able to get this one back here. Okay, so this way I can toggle back and forth. So a simple setup that I like, if digging in more specific, because I know we were going with where we are going this one, why the trade, where's the trade set up? This wasn't the exact trade. This isn't the exact risk to reward. I'm usually not capturing something, that large, but I'll try to leverage some stats within basic market structure, price action, and volume, and
Right.
and order flow. And the way that I'll do that is with EdgeFuel. It's been an awesome company to partner with. Really, really simple platform. What this is essentially just data behind specific instruments. So they have this for stocks, Forex, crypto, futures. You have a whole bunch of different instruments. We're on NASDAQ right now. You can look at different sessions and different amounts of data, 6 months to 5 years. So, and what they give you is a whole bunch of different reports, essentially saying what happens around a specific time, around a specific level. So, what this one that I have pulled up right here is over the last 6 months of data, and they go through. They give you an example just to show you this real quick. They break this stuff down. Pretty easy to start to understand if you're coming in fresh. But what this one is measuring is if NQ breaks one side of the initial balance from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., what percent of the time does it just break out in that side and not come back down to break the other side? Strong
Mm,
stat says if we break the high, for example, 78.46% of the time over the last 6 months of data, we're not
right.
coming back down to break the opposite side. A trade like this setting up, I get initial balance high and low here. Again, this is example.
Right.
I'm going to combine some market structure and price action. So does it look super duper choppy? Do I not really want to be playing towards one of these highs and lows? I'm going to filter that out. That's where the discretion comes in, the experience that I just don't think you can substitute. But on
Right.
a day like today, we're very bullish coming out of the close, super bullish overnight session. Maybe we're going to continue this move. So we've got some bullish price action. We're staying above the VWAP line. We're putting a nice higher high in. We pull back down, start to find maybe a little bit of support here. Maybe I'm using a volume tool as well to confirm this area right here. I want to look long, and I'm going to look long towards that IB high breaking. Potential play here could be I'm going to take some off, close partials at IB high, or and then let a remainder run, maybe within that 61 points on average that we've been extending over the last 6 months. And there's a ton of these style of reports. I'll give you one more just for quick example that I found pretty interesting. Power hour breakout. This one's measuring.
What's the power hour? Is that the last hour of the day?
Yeah, last hour of the day. So I'm on Top Step TV often. I'm trading Power Hour live. I'm doing this fun stuff, and it can be helpful to know this one. For most of the U.S. indices, we are not putting a new low or new high of day in during the last hour, and that one was not as obvious to me. And a lot of times, like we get a big trend day, like we did today, and this stat is really not holding true today.
It's so funny, like I know all these stats intuitively because I watch the price action. And I think like people have this misconception that the last hour is the big hour. The last hour is actually the fake out hour a lot of times.
Here it is right here.
The true market action these days is between 11 a.m. New York and about 2 p.m. New York. It's the time when people used to think was the deadest time is now like the best, most active time. I don't know if it's because Europeans are in the market a lot more, or whether because just the digital nature of the market has changed. Like it used to be the market people would go to lunch. There'd be brokers that all go to lunch. The market would die out. Not the case anymore. Like the best trends happen between 11 and 2 p.m. In the marketplace.
Yep, I've been live. Yeah, I've been live trading. If I'm setting my own schedule a lot in the middle of the day because I've been finding it just works well.
Middle of days when like this is the idea of the whole thing. Middle of the days when the only time of the day when you're going to get distinct, clear, an uninterrupted 2-3 hour trend in the market. That's funny. Yeah. So that's very helpful. And I'm sure it's like it's a geek heaven in terms of like looking at all these different things. So you sort of use all the statistical data in conjunction with your own setups to help you give sort of a degree of confidence on what you want to do.
I'll add one more piece in, not to take too much time on the tools, but I'll show you Bookmap real quick here. And again,
that's a tool I'm really keen to find out about because this is a really unique, interesting tool. Maybe you can walk us through from the bottom of the chart to the middle of the chart to the right of the chart exactly what those elements are.
Basically, what we're looking at here, this is an order flow software. What you have over here is your order book, your current order book. This right now is displaying historical data. Market's closed. I'm not all the way up to the front. But what you have here is during this time, this is showing live orders in the market, resting orders on the bid and the ask. You have your price levels right here, and Bookmap's whole claim to fame, at least for me, where it's very valuable, it's displaying this depth of market, the ladder, in a heat map by way of a heat map, and you could see that pretty clearly here. If we scroll back a bit, I don't know exactly what time we're looking at here, but you can see on the book, on the order book, we have quite a bit of orders resting above price, and that lights up like a big line in on the heat map. This will vary based on what information you're showing. You can zoom in and out. So many ways you could customize this.
These volume orders are plotted against price. So that huge, big circle over there that looks like Uranus, the planet Uranus, that's against the big price spike, right? Like the price basically went up. Looks like the price went just straight up over there over a couple of minutes and accumulated in a large volume bubble up there. Right?
You're correct. That's showing you a large amount of volume traded. You do have kind of a traditional, if we were looking at a candlestick chart, you've got volume down on the bottom. It coincides with that traditional down on the volume down on the bottom. You can see the big volume traded here. And you could see price coming up into orders that are resting on the book, right? Rolled back, but here, let's kind of play this thing forward. We've got quite a bit of orders on the book here. You can see price coming up into it. You can see quite a bit of volume traded. Now, I'll tell you how I'm using this. But it's worth noting there's this algorithmic liquidity provider, liquidity bands. I've heard it referred to as so many different names that kind of track price. And it's this choppy, yellow back and forth. Price never seems to really touch that. It just makes it a little bit difficult to read. But what I'm looking for is the big lit up like a Christmas tree line to say, hey, we've got a lot of orders on the book. And again, I'm not digging deep into the theory, the market mechanics as to why. But if I watch this stuff play out day in and day out, which I have been doing,
Yeah.
these big levels of liquidity act like magnets for price. I'm not going to say they always go and fill. They absolutely don't. And what happens when you get there is also another, out for debate type of a deal. For me, how I'm using this in the very simplistic way, I'm setting up my chart, candlestick chart. I'm paying attention to, what's going on in the market. That's my primary. I'm running this on a second monitor and I'm paying attention. Do we have a massive stack of orders at a level that I might not be paying attention to? Oftentimes, these are going to be in an obvious level, big psychological number, maybe at,
Right.
an area that, a lot of volume's going on. 20,000 had a huge stack for, last few days, or earlier this week, I should say. But I want to know about that. I want to pay attention because oftentimes price seems to be drawn to these levels. And when it gets there, I can expect some increase in volatility because there's going to be a large volume traded there. Again, sometimes these are obvious. Sometimes they coincide with, very clear levels. A lot of times it's not. And if the market's moving like it was today, maybe pushing to the upside, and I don't have clear levels, I don't have a zone, I don't have something objective, this can be helpful maybe for a target to say, hey, I'm going to trade towards this, or maybe, I'm going to be cautious if we get up there. My last 2 cents on this one, if we're trending to the upside, for example, like we are today, I'm going to look to trade towards these levels and potentially hold through these levels. If we're consolidating, if we're ranging, and there's one big stack of orders on the book and there's nothing showing up above the book, like today we had quite a bit continue to show up on the book, I may look to fade this level. I may say, hey, this is a lot of selling pressure. Price is likely potentially going to come up here. This selling pressure is going to fill. These orders are going to fill, and price may, pull back off that. Again, just like any other tool or indicator, I find it's nothing's going to be 100%. Nothing's going to work all the time. There's going to be times where it works against you. You're targeting some level, you get close. Price just does whatever it wants to do. The big candle comes in. It disrespects what's going on the book. I'll also say there's so many different tools and ways that you can use this. So many different ways that you can interpret order flow and read the tape. For me, coming in, with just a newbie attitude, this made it very simple. Looks intimidating, but for what I'm using it for, the way that I'm able to read it, very, very simple stuff. So that's Bookmap.
So would you say this is sort of a secondary confirmation indicator? This, in other words, you have the primary analysis happens on the chart itself against
100%.
the VWAP and against the clear support resistance points that are yesterday's high, overnight session high, or some clear level of congestion on a longer term chart. And now, in conjunction with all of this, you sort of use it as a secondary thing.
Agreed. Secondary, primary, 100% happening on my candlestick chart. Again, I'm using EdgeFuel for kind of that theory behind what I'm doing. And like you said, if you watch the market for long enough, if you back test, those are the statistics you find. They're just displaying it in a very nice, clear, easy to read and flip through, platform. Bookmap for me, secondary on the side, kind of letting me know what's going on with level 2 data, and I can pay attention to it. Maybe it's going to spot something that I wasn't aware of in the market. I want to be cautious around if I'm placing a stop somewhere or a target somewhere. And it's been helpful. On NQ, it's pretty fast moving. There's orders that come on and off the book. There's manipulation. There's
the NQ ladder is just insane.
Yeah, it's fast.
I don't use any of it. I simply will use price. I'll just use level 1 price, just precisely because I don't want to be confused by the level. And then even just trying to get an order off on level 1 price, it will skip through 5 ticks and then go, oh, okay, you're done. Kind of like jump around. You sound like a pretty disciplined guy in terms of everything you were doing. I wonder, do you track your trading? Do you keep statistics on what you do? Do you find that useful or no?
Yeah, I kind of fall somewhere in the middle, I think, on that. I do like journaling as I am discretionary, but I do it in a pretty simple way. I'll pretty much take a screenshot of that trading view chart, maybe a position tool. That'll be kind of my visual ability to review. And then I keep what they call the emotional journal. I got it sitting on my desk, but I fill a notebook. Even at my level 5 years in, I still do write quite a bit down in a notebook. And the why behind that, again, I think is if I'm going to allow myself that much freedom and flexibility in the market, stuff's going to go wrong, stuff's going to go right. I want to have a little bit of a feedback loop as to what's going on.
Can you,
Again,
not to pry, but I'm just curious. Can you
no,
just
go ahead.
maybe read a sentence or two of your notes? I'm just curious, like, did you take a notes today of what you did? I'm just like, what do you write? I'm just curious, what is it that you would note to
Yeah,
yourself?
I've got no notes today. But pretty much in the morning, is going to be if I'm sitting down at the desk, just kind of getting set up for the morning. Couple notes, maybe just on what's going on, how I'm feeling, that type of deal. And
Mm,
again, I'll preface it with this, Boris. I don't think this is for everybody, right? The same way I don't think Bookmap has to be for everybody.
right.
There's a million different ways to do this thing, and
Yeah.
some guys are going to think tools like Bookmap not helpful. You got to experiment with what works for you.
Right.
For me, the emotional journaling thing does help. And a visual review, simple screenshot of the chart. I can flip through that maybe once a week or at the end of the month, kind of just take a look at what went well, what went wrong. And then the emotional journal piece. Again, I'll expand on it just a hair. I found when I got some traction, allowing myself to be a little bit more discretionary, use my experience, use some intuition, things started to work well. And I would, if I started to fall off a little bit, my results would kind of get shaky. I almost wouldn't know why. I wouldn't know what's going on. And I felt that if I wasn't creating some kind of a feedback loop for myself, I wouldn't know how to hold on to the times that are going well and identify stuff that's really throwing me off.
Mm,
Maybe I'm paying attention to a different tool, or I'm running I'm running something in the background that I'm listening to, giving
right.
me this unhealthy bias. So
Your point is that when you're doing lots of discretionary trading, what you really need to do is systematize your best moments. You kind of like, those East German athletes who, like, when they had record performances, they would take their blood from them so they could know the exact, chemical
know what was
state.
going on?
Uh,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them. I'm going back in time here for anybody who's ever when East Germany actually existed. But that's sort of the same idea where this is a very ephemeral type of a feeling. And if you journal it, at least you have some record of it. Therefore, you can recollect, say, "Oh yeah. That's what I was doing at that point. I was, vibing the market this way. Probably I should be looking at it from that perspective again." It's
Yep.
interesting. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's fascinating as far as that goes. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us as far as trading? I'm just sort of like, if I was to say to you, top. I hate the questions of, like, what would you say to a newbie trader? It's a different journey to anybody else. But what are the top three things that you think absolutely are critical to good trading habits, or a good trading approach?
I'd say not to the newbie trader, but for everybody, keep expectations in line.
Mm,
You have to on a couple different levels, but I think you have to understand or try to understand the game of probabilities we're playing. And you talked about it a little bit on the front end, where no one trade's going to matter over the course of 90 trades in a day. Maybe guys are taking 1 to 2 trades, and it can be tough within that session to remember that maybe you're operating with a 60 or 70% win rate. You don't know for certain whether that next trade is going to be a win or a loss. And your job is really to do everything that you can correctly, read the market to the best of your abilities, execute your approach. But it's that trade in the zone that I have halfway memorized, Mark Douglas, random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. And
right.
that one really hits home. So
I think
expectations, go
I think
ahead.
that I was going to say the hardest part about that random distribution that people forget is you could have 7 consecutive losers in a row, and that is completely statistically normal within a
Yep.
random distribution. In other words, on a 60% bet probability. I forgot, you can ask ChatGPT actually these questions to kind of soothe your ego. If I have a 60% edge strategy and I do 100 trades, what's the probability that I have 7 lose in a row? And it's actually pretty high, like 10,
Yep.
15% of the time.
Yeah, I'd say you're always going to face some form of a challenge in trading, whether it's a losing streak, whether it's just not ideal market conditions, shifting market conditions. Recognize that on the front end and try to treat this like a business that you're always going to have to adapt and improvise a bit and
Right.
overcome some challenge that's in front of you to keep the
Right.
the needle moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good parting words from Zach Boyajian. Thank you so much. It's been a really eye-opening experience. Thank you for sharing your tool sets, your approaches. Where can people find you? What do you do? I know where people can find you, but why don't you tell everybody else on the trading side?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the brand name is Real Deal Futures. That's it for YouTube. On Instagram, Twitter, it's Real Deal Zach. I run a free community. I do coaching programs, real hands-on coaching programs, where I work with traders, small group setting, trading live, and I put a ton out for free. Free Discord to share analysis. I do trade live on and off, and I'm on Top Step TV quite a bit. I'll be back on there this week on
Yeah.
Friday, trading live.
So you trade live on Real Deal Futures on YouTube, right?
Yes, sir.
Almost every day. I think I see you almost every day. And then you also trade live on Top Step TV, like on Friday, right? With the
Yes, sir.
group.
Yep, and I'm
yeah.
I'm revamping a whole bunch of what and how and when I do. So stay tuned. Hop in the free Discord if there's anybody out there listening. You want to hear more about my tools.
Sorry, what's the Discord's name? Is it Real Deal Futures Discord or?
It is same name, but you could find the link through Instagram, Twitter,
Okay.
YouTube.
Or you can just you can look it up on Discord. I'm sure that
Yep.
the
And I've got the website realdealfutures.com.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds good. Well, thank you again. It's been a real wonderful journey to take us through the all of the trading tools that you're doing and all of the really interesting setups that you do. One last question. I forgot to ask you this. How many trades a day do you usually do, given your approach and given your setup?
Yeah, it's back to that.
Well,
Looking
don't
for
say
a
it
little
changes.
bit.
Give me a general number.
Yeah, I'm gonna
And don't
go.
be
I'm gonna go.
wild.
I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go 3 on average. Maybe 4 on the high end. Again,
And
morning
two on
on
the low
Dow.
end, 1 and 2 on the low end when there's
Yeah,
not much action. Okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
yep.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a
That's it.
reasonable amount. Okay.
Yeah,
All
and it's
right.
been awesome being on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'm hoping I get to come back on and we keep these conversations rolling. It's awesome.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Everybody come watch Zach at Real Deal Futures and enjoy yourself. Zach, thank you again. This is Boris Schlossberg for the Trading Battle. Be sure to subscribe to the Trading Battle and our YouTube channel so you can get notified anytime we do these interviews with great traders across the world so you can learn all the best techniques, improve your edge, and enjoy. And I will see you guys in the markets. Over and out.